Hey guys, it's Miss Terry here, and today we are going to talk about the continents. Now, the definition of a continent is a large landmass that is surrounded by oceans or seas. It doesn't have to be completely surrounded by them, but it can be, as we're going to talk about a little on later. Now, there are 7 continents on the planet Earth. There's Asia, Africa, Antarctica, Australia, North America, South America, and Europe. Now I'm going to throw a little bit of facts at you about each one of these continents. First one, Asia. Their boundaries are not completely defined on the map or in their country, so oftentimes they are just packed together with Europe in one big continent called Eurasia. Now, that doesn't happen a lot of the times, but sometimes you can hear people refer to as 6 continents where they group Europe and Asia together like that. Now, Asia is also our largest continent out of the 7. It has a population of over 4 billion people. So that means in every half mile of land, there are 95 people packed in that half mile. So space is pretty tight over there in Asia. Now, on the contrary to that, Antarctica is the smallest population of the continents with less than 5,000 people. So if everyone in Antarctica spread across the continent, they would have over 1,000 miles to themselves, no neighbors, no noise. They'd have a huge backyard. Now, as for the climate of every continent, it ranges wildly between each continent. Africa is the most tropical because the equator goes right through Africa, so it is the hottest continent. And on the other side of the spectrum, Antarctica is a frozen tundra. It's covered by snow. It's mostly cold there. With every other continent, there are usually the 4 seasons like we have here in North America: fall, summer, winter, and spring. They go through those 4 seasons just like we do. Now, continents, like I said, are large landmasses surrounded by oceans or water. Now, Antarctica and Australia are known as island continents because those are completely surrounded by water. They are not touching any other continent, any other piece of land besides the whole continent. So they are known as island continents. Now, another interesting fact about Africa, besides it being very hot because of the equator, Africa is considered the birthplace of mankind. This is where scientists have found the earliest specimens of Homo sapiens in the entire world to date. So that is pretty cool. Now, Europe, on the other hand, has given us the modern Western culture that we live in. Now, we all know from our history class that North America broke off from England, which is in Europe. So now we have North America. We have all these modern necessities that we have today. Well, Europe actually paved the way for all of that. So without Europe and without us breaking away, we wouldn't have North America as we know it, and things would be vastly different. Now, South America is pretty interesting because they have sort of a mixture of all different cultures down there. They have African Americans, they have Spanish-speaking people, they have French-speaking people. So all of their cultures down there have just kind of clashed into one, and it's a big melting pot, more than North America, actually. And they also have the Amazon River, which is the largest river by mass, and they have beautiful waterfalls, and it's just very tropical down there in South America as well. So that is an overview of our continents. I know I might have just skimmed over all of them, but as you can see, we don't have a lot of time, so I can't really dig into each of them. But they are pretty easy to remember. We'll go over them again. There's Asia, Africa, Antarctica, Australia. So there are 4 A's. And then North America, we live there, so that's pretty easy to remember. South America, which is down south from us. And then Europe. Or occasionally, you can combine Europe and Asia to make Eurasia. Well, that's all I have for you today. Thanks for listening. Hope you learned something.